continue with the logical deductions. First of all, the jar can't be a horse, can't be a donkey, has to be a human being. Alright? Banu Israel are in Babylon. Is Babylon in the United States? Or is it in France? Where is it? In Iraq. Good, mashallah, we're making progress tonight. Banu Israel are in Babylon. And the Holy Land, where Holy Israel was located, is now under pagan Babylonian rule. But if the Messiah is to rule the world from the throne of the Daud, he'll have to rule the world from Jerusalem. He'll have to rule the world from Holy State of Israel. Okay? So the Jews deduced that the first thing that the Messiah would have to do would be to liberate the Holy Land for the Jews, because it's now under Babylonian rule, and the Babylonians worship the stars and the moon and the idols. So number one, he'll have to liberate the Holy Land for the Jews. Number two, now don't ask me which hadith did you read this. I just do these are logical deductions. And if you can't follow my logical deductions, one thing we get off the follow to something else. No waste your time. Number two, you have to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. Number three, he would have to restore the Holy State of Israel in the Holy Land. Number four, he'll have to cause that Holy State of Israel to become once again the ruling state of the world. These are the four major things you have to do. You may wish to add one more if you want. And that is the masjid that was built by Sulaiman alayhi salam. They call it the Temple of Solomon. We call it Masjid al-Aqsa. That masjid was destroyed by the Babylonian army. So he's going to have to build the masjid. Okay. Okay. This is what the Messiah will have to do. It follows therefore that the false Messiah will have to do the same thing. If he is to successfully impersonate the true Messiah and convince the Jews that he is the true Messiah, he will have to liberate the Holy Land for the Jews. He will have to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. Number three, he will have to restore the state of Israel as the Holy Land. Number four, he will have to cause that Israel to become once again the ruling state in the world. You ask me which hadith I read it. Because these are logical deductions. Because I have people ask me, particularly those who call themselves my brothers and they are my brothers in Salafi. Sheikh Imran, which hadith did you read that in? So, brother, why don't you not get the ball or something? Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Go play football. You can't understand this. Good. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said, that when the dove released by Allah into the world, anybody has come now, go that way. No, complete. Good. One day like a year, one day like a month, one day like a week, and all his days like your days. Is it possible for us to be on earth and to live in a day which is like the year? Is it possible? Has there ever been in human history any profitable one? Anyone who experienced living on earth in a day which is lasted for a year or more than a year? Huh? I don't know where you will come from, but I have never experienced anyone. I know of no one. I know of no prophet of Allah. None. Who has experienced such a thing. I know that every single prophet of Allah, okay, lived in a world in which the sun rose in the morning and the sun set in the evening. And the day and the night combined to make a day. And that's how it's always been since Allah created the world. But then where would this day be which is like a year? If you believe that somewhere in the North Pole or the South Pole or somewhere on the earth there is a day which is like a year, go and play football. And don't waste my time. Because I'm growing impatient now. I'm impatient with this methodology. So don't waste my time. If you choose to believe that, go ahead and believe it. And just leave me alone with my feelings. We have a different way of approaching the sun. Listen, are there angels on the earth? I mean, apart from your wives. Yes, each one of us has two angels. Do these angels live in our world of space and time? Are these angels subjected to day and night and so on? No. They are on earth possibly, but they are not in our world of time. So we're making progress now while you play football. Are there jinn on earth? I don't know how many you have in Brunei, but I know there are lots of them in Washington. Can you see the jinn? Are the jinn subject to the same day and night as we are subject to? No. So the jinn are here on earth, but not in our world of space and time, not our day. Their day is not like our day. And so only 5 minutes worth of intelligence. That's all we need. And we're making progress to understand their kind. So now we know. Are there other worlds of space and time beside this? But that's how the Quran starts. He is who has subjected to you all things on the earth. ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن سبع سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم. Beginning of the Quran, that Allah first created the material universe. The word Ard can mean land, like Ardul Muqaddasa, holy land. The word Ard can mean earth, and the word Ard can mean material universe, all beginnings. So after Allah created the material universe, his world of space and time. He then created or fashioned 7 more worlds of space and time. This Samawat. Okay? And beyond these 7 is his arch, or the command center. The command center is arch. And these worlds of space and time differ from each other. The Qur'an says that there is a day with Allah which is like 1,000 years of your company. The Quran says that there is a day with Allah which is like 50,000 years of your counting. So the samawat differ from each other. So the Dajjal is released on earth, but yet he is not in the material realm. The angels are on earth, but they're not in our world of space and time. So the Dajjal can be here. And in the same way that the angels are here and we can't see them, similarly the Dajjal can be here and we can't see them. Okay? Is it possible for someone who is in another world of space and time, like me, to appear in material form? Would you believe? Ready? Are you sure? If you make a mistake, not take that for you. Okay, give me an example. Give me an example. Another Yashin first. Someone in another world of space and time, but can appear in our world of space and time. Give me an example. MashaAllah, so take that. Jibreel alayhi salam is an angel. But he came in the masjid in the form of a human being. Okay? And came and sat in front of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Give me an example of a jinn. Who will give me an example of a jinn? Don't tell me to put you. Iblis, the Quraysh met in a meeting to decide what to do about Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, because they couldn't tolerate his presence anymore. And an old man with a walking stick entered and joined the meeting. And when this one said, let's kill him, and that one said, let's do this, he said, no. And then when one person said, let one man from each tribe surround him. And as he comes out, all will jump on him. So no tribe will be able to take by himself. So Banu Hashim will have to accept compensation. And then the old man said, that's the plan. And Nabi Muhammad said he was Iblis, who came in the form of a human being. And so although the Dajjal is in another world of space and time, the Dajjal can appear in our world as a human being, because the angel didn't detect it. So now we say that the Dajjal will first have to passage 3 stages of his life. 3 stages. While he is here on earth, before we will see him as a human being. And only when he is completed those three stages of his life, then in the very last part of his life, which is only a few days long, only then will we see him as a human being. The fellows who are playing football outside, they are waiting for the Dajjal to appear as a human being. And only when he appears as a human being would his mission commence. Prior to that, there is no Dajjal in the world. So his day like a year will commence when he is on earth like a human being. And his day like a month, the day like a week will continue. And he is somewhere on earth. So we say no. You can't see him in a day like a year. You can't see him in a day like a month. You can't see him in a day like a week. But you only see him when his day is like our day. And at that time, he'll be Jerusalem, ruling the world through. Now, India has this mission to rule the world from Jerusalem. My gosh, how will the little state of Israel rule the world? That's God's order. In order for Israel to rule the world, Israel will first have to rule the Arabs. Because Israel is surrounded by Arabs. How will Israel rule the Arabs? How will Israel rule Russia and China? This is an extremely difficult thing. The Prophet said about Dajjal that he will come with two things, a river and a fire. But his fire would be the cool waters of the river. And the river will be the fire. In this hadith, the fire symbolizes Jahannam and the river symbolizes Jannah. So Dajjal, which is PhD in deception, would take the road to Jannah and present it as the road to Jannah. And he may take the road to Jannah and make it look like a road to Jannah. He does that every night. He takes the road to Jahannam and makes it look like a road to Jannah. And he takes the road to Jannah and makes it look like a road to Jannah. He takes the truth and clothes it with the clothing of falsehood. And he takes falsehood and makes it look like truth. So he is the master of deception. The Prophet said that the Dajjal will get people to worship him, to Allah. He's already doing that. A very famous scholar, Islam in Pakistan, I won't mention his name. I have great respect for them. He was an old man, an outstanding scholar. That man was still waiting for someone to believe that he's God. So the Dajjal said, the Dajjal will believe to be God. But when I told him that the Dajjal is already doing that, he wouldn't understand. The Dajjal uses a number of weapons. Political weapons, economic weapons. For example, the Prophet said that the age of Dajjal is the age of Kathrat riba. You use riba to reduce all those who oppose him to poverty and destitution. And all those who support him will be on the gravy train, driving BMW, gravy train, driving prosperity. Dajjal also will attack women. The last people to come out of Dajjal will be women. And a man will have to return to his home, his family, and tie like that. His wife, his sister, his daughter, to protect them from Dajjal. And so a revolution in the world of women, a feminist revolution will come with Dajjal. But we want to return now to what we mentioned about the three stages. Do we have any indication when Dajjal is released under its first stage? The way will it and what will it be? From which part of the earth will he launch his attack? Although we can't see. Yes, we do. I now want to introduce you to the hadith known as the hadith of Tamim al-Dari. It's a hadith of pivotal importance. We don't need to look to see whether the hadith is sahih or da'if or reliable or unreliable or is it sahih Muslim. We don't have to do that. The hadith is that Tamim al-Dari was a Christian, took the Shahada, became a Muslim in Medina, and came to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and narrated an event to him. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam listened to him. And then the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam asked the people to sit in the masjid. He says, I have something to say to you. The Tamim al-Dari came to me and gave me the news of this event about the Dajjal, which confirms what I have been saying to you. The narration does not tell us whether it's a dream or whether it's a vision or whether it was an actual event. No, you've got to use your own intelligence now. And here is the event. Tamim al-Dari and some 40 of his companions went on board a ship. If you are in the Arab world and you go on board a ship, you either be in the Mediterranean Sea or the Orient, or you be the Red Sea from Arabia. Okay? And a storm came and blew the ship for a whole month, so we eliminated the Red Sea. If you're in the Red Sea and a storm comes, in 1 hour you get drowned. Not a whole month. So there's only one left, the Mediterranean Sea. After 1 month, the ship reached land. Okay? And it was an island. An island. And now there are a number of clues which are given by which you can seek to identify the island. Is it possible from the Mediterranean Sea to go to the United States by ship? Oh, come on. Yes. American ships. Hundreds of American ships over the last 200 years leaving the United States to come and trade with Tripoli and Algiers and Cairo. How did they get into the Mediterranean Sea? last week. And she brought them. Okay. We'll be there for thousands of years. Good. Which is this island? They got off the ship and they went on shore. And they were confronted by a very hairy creature. So much hair, you could not tell which side was head and which side was tail. Much like in Luam and Adam, sometimes you can't tell who's the man and who's the woman. And then the beast began to speak and said, I am Jassasa. The word is in the Quran. Wala tajassasu, do not spy. Do not spy. Don't do work for the FBI against your own people, and everyone getting a check from the FBI. Rather than be nice. Do not spy. So, this creature is a specialist in spying, just as. And this creature conceals his true identity. Meaning that the hadith is telling us that this is an island with specialization in spying and espionage. And that this is an island with people who conceal their true identity. Okay. Shall we call the Adhan and then continue? Or Salat and then continue? Huh? Okay, let me just finish it. Jasasa then said to him, the people there again, pointing to a monastery which was lying in ruins. So we know that this is an island in which religion will eventually collapse. And he said, there's someone waiting to see you there. So they rushed because they wanted to get away from him. And when they reached the monastery which was lying in ruins, they found this man who was in chains. His hands were chained to his neck, and his feet were chained. And he began to question them. Who are you? Where are you from? And they said, we are Arabs. And he asked, has that Arab prophet come as yes, who does not read and write and he knowledge you? They said yes. Are the people following him? They said some are, some are not. He said it's better for them to follow him. He asked, is there any water left in the Sea of Galilee? They said, plenty. He said, it's not going to last a while. And then he said, I am the judge. And when I am released, for after this moment he's not released, I will enter every town and every city where he didn't mention Capital. I will enter every town. So we know from this hadith that when the child is released on earth in a day like this, it is from this island that he will commence his mission to rule the world, even from Jerusalem. And we ask the question, and it is a legitimate question to ask, which island is it? When we give an answer, we say, this is our own answer. You don't have to accept it. Okay? But if you say we are wrong, you must tell us, you will tell us what is right. Otherwise, you can't say we are wrong. So let's go to Salat. MashaAllah, yes, it makes sense beautifully. And then we come back and continue. We narrated to you the hadith, which is known as the hadith, the Mushtari, in which an island was mentioned. We then attempted to identify that island. So when the judge is released on earth, he is like the air. It is from that island he will commence his mission to eventually rule the world from Jerusalem while making it real state of the world. And we are in the island. And we found number one that it would be an island about 1 month's journey by sea from the Arab world. Number two, that it would be an island with expertise in spying against espionage. And it would conceal its true identity. Three, that it would be an island in which religion will eventually crumble because the monastery is lying ruined. And number four, it will have to be an island with a special relation to the Holy Land in order to pray for that mission to rule the world with the Holy Land. I have given the answer in my book, Jerusalem, the Quran, and incidentally, I have, I think, 20 copies of Jerusalem, the Quran, which when you write, would I to get them all? Jerusalem, the Quran link. And then there is Jerusalem, the Quran translated to Bahasa. We send 100 copies by ship. People arrive during the Quran. Make sure you get a copy. Read that. In Jerusalem, in the Quran, I identify the islands, the treasures. Whenever I give my opinion, I always insist that no one should accept my view or my opinion unless until you are convinced that it is correct. I can't. So this is my view, the island of it. Where is the evidence to support my view? As evidence, I would point to the fact that it was the island of Britain which in 1970, October or November 1970, issued what is known as the Balfour Declaration, which set the stage for what we now have today. That it is the intention of the British government to work for the establishment of the Jewish national home in the Holy Land. There you are. A day as the sunshine. This island has to be Britain. Number two, it was the British army which defeated the Turkish Ottoman Islamic army in 1917 November and liberated the Holy Land for the Jews. The British general, his name was General Number three, that it was Britain which ruled over the Holy Land from 1918 to 1940, the successor to the Ottoman Islamic Empire. And during that period of 30 years, allowed the Jews to return to the Holy Land. Number four, it was Britain which in 1948 presided over the birth of the state of Israel. I don't think that Singapore qualifies. No. I don't think that either the 40 or qualifies. No. I don't think there's any other island in the world that qualifies. Of Britain. And so I came to the conclusion that when the child was released on earth in a day by million, that it was from Britain that he commenced his effort to fulfill his mission of impersonating the true Messiah. I noticed that during that time, when indeed like a year was in progress, I noticed that the student of international relations, that Britain became the ruling state in the world. And this was symbolized in an expression called Pax Britannica. Pax Britannica. Britain ruled the world. I noticed that there were no aircraft at that time, and wars were fought on land and on sea. But to control the sea was strategically more important than land. And then Britain controlled every single strategically important naval port in the whole world. Okay? This thing cannot be by accident. I noticed that Britain and Europe gained a military superiority over the rest of the world through a scientific and technological revolution, which, when applied military science, gave a military power the rest of the world could not met. You have one army out there with cruise missiles and helicopter gunships, and you have another army over here with bows and arrows. Huh? They don't match. Don't match at all. So a preponderant military superiority because of the scientific and technological revolution, which is still proceeding. And I noticed that Britain was the originator of the heart of the scientific and technological revolution. I noticed also that Britain ruled the world of money. When Britain was the ruling state, the Britain created a bank called the Bank of England. And then Britain started issuing paper money. Paper money. And previously you had a British sterling pound, which was a gold coin. And then now you know a British sterling pound made of paper. And I noticed that the same scheme was used to rip off paper. As soon as the Bank of England was established, within a few years, this one was bogus. I noticed that Britain maintained and still maintains to this day an inexplicable obsession with the Holy Land. Yeah. The former British Prime Minister Tony Blair is still long is a day like a year lasts? And when will a day like a month commence? And the answer is, when written the world. When did that happen? And I found that in 1914, an act of terrorism similar to 9/11 was British. The assassination of the French Jew, the awesome Jew Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo. And that assassination triggered off a chain of events which culminated in the First World War. The First World War in turn brought about the collapse and disintegration of the Ottoman Islamic Empire. And the First World War brought about the destruction of Muslim rule over the Holy Land, Britain taking over. But by 1917, Germany was winning the war. Germany had introduced a new weapon of war. What is it?
Submarine.
Submarine is correct. Why are you afraid to say submarine? And the submarines had surrounded Britain. And Britain was marooned. And Britain had food for 2 weeks. Britain will have to surrender. And then the Jews got the United States to enter the war. And from the time the United States entered the war, the United States was able to save Britain from defeat. But now it's fair. If I had to save you from defeat, you would no longer the ruling state in the world. The United States is taking over, or is taking over for Britain. The process of taking over will take years. So I concluded that the United States is now the headquarters, and the job is now in a day which is like a month. And during this period of time, I find that the aircraft has now been introduced into warfare. And in the same way that Britain controlled every single naval port in the world, the United States now has 700 military bases all over the world. Why would the United States, and only the United States, establish 700 military bases all over the world? There has to be an explanation. In the same way as why would Britain establish a naval port in every single strategic location in the whole world? What did you explain? You cannot answer these questions with normal tools of critical analysis from the universities. Forget it. That's a waste of time. You can only answer these questions if you go to a man named Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But they don't teach you to the Darul. No. They don't teach it in Al-Azhar University. How to use the ahadith to understand and explain political realities, economic realities. They don't do that. I noticed that the United States takes over from the military power in the world. And the United States controls the sky. Every single aircraft constructed in the world, 90% to 80% of commercial aircraft fly out from the United States, Boeing, number one, and the other company. And maybe the French are producing some aircraft, but they don't compete. The Russians and Chinese are producing some aircraft, but they don't compete. And every airline in the world that wants to be competitive is buying mostly American aircraft. Right? So in the same way that Britain controls the sea, United States controls the air. I noticed that the United States takes over the cutting edge of the scientific and technological revolution. Britain has not sent any man up to the moon, although I understand that's a lie to do it. But sent spacecraft, okay, up into the sky, the cutting edge of space technology in the United States, not Britain. No. The scientific and technological revolution moved from Britain to the United States. And then finally I noticed the United States took over the world of money. Britain no longer rules over the money, the sterling pound no longer the international currency. And London was no longer the financial capital of the world. Now all of these things are observations. You're not going to find this in a hadith. You've got to observe what's happening around you. And then tie it up with the hadith. The US dollar replaces the sterling pound. And finally, I noticed the United States is the midwife supporting Israel in every single thing. Every single thing the United States supporting Israel. A mysterious obsession with Israel. No American politician dares to criticize Israel. Because if you criticize Israel, that is the end of the political career. Huh? And so Israel controls the United States. So I came to the conclusion that when the child was in a day which is like the money, the United States would be the fathers. And then I came to the conclusion 10 years ago when I wrote the Qur'an that there are unmistakable signs that the United States is now in a state of decline. And that the day which is like a month is coming to an end. And so 10 years ago that book was published saying that the day like a week is going to commence. And that a new state will emerge to replace the United States. The United States will collapse. The US dollar will collapse. It will bring down all the paper money in the world. And in the same way that Britain was on the verge of military defeat, and the United States had to win the same. So the United States will have to be on the verge of military defeat. And Israel will have to be the same. And that will not transfer of power. Maybe within the next 2 or 3 months we should see the attack on Iran. Israeli attack on Iran. The United States does not want Iran to be attacked. Because the United States knows that an attack on Iran will lead eventually to world war. And the United States doesn't want to fight Russia. The United States much prefers to fight Libya. Oh yes. And Afghanistan, Iraq and stuff. But not Russia. No. Because if you fight Russia, you will get busted up. All the American cities are going to be lying in ashes. Yeah, they don't know. And the Russians are going to misbehave. No, they'll treat you the same way you treat the Afghans. So the United States does not want Iran to be attacked. Because it knows that an attack on Iran will lead to war eventually. But Israel wants the attack on Iran. So now the United States is doing all it can to try to prevent the attack on Iran. And guess what the Zionists are doing now in the House of Representatives? They are passing a resolution in the American Congress to prevent the President of the United States from talking to Iran. To prevent the US government from Iraq to prevent all American government agencies from having any kind of a contact with Iraq. In other words, they're putting Barack Obama in handcuffs. The President of the United States is paralyzed to do nothing. Who controls the United States now? Is it the government or the terrorists? See? So the attack is coming. When the attack does come, among the many things that are going to happen from the attack on Iran is that there's going to be clear transfer of power from the United States. I don't want to keep you for another 2 hours here. So I'm cutting out a lot of analysis. When Israel takes over from the United States as a ruling state of the world, or if Israel take over from the United States as a ruling state of the world, you need more than bring the United States to the verge of military defeat. And then intervene to help the United States get away from it. You also have to establish Israeli political and economic dominion over the Arabs. Because no Jew will accept the Jew ruling the political or ruling the Arabs. So now you need to see why they are playing football and then they play football. The Arab Spring has come to get away for the Arabs problem. There are Arabs who cannot understand that. And they're writing furious emails to me. Sheikh Imran, we respect you, but you're wrong on this. This is now the moment of victory. The Arabs are emerging. And the Khilafah is now going to be restored. That's their thinking. And I'm saying no. Wrong. And we don't have long to wait to know who is right. We don't have long to wait. So I'm not going to engage in any debate. The Arab Spring is meant to prepare the way for the Arab Spring. The Arabs will be decimated by Israel and by Egypt. And when you look at the state of the ulama in the Arab world today, you will see that they are in a pathetic state. If you are scholars of Islam, you cannot even recognize the paper money to be an instrument created by the enemy to review and reduce the poverty and distribution, that the paper money is bogus, is fraudulent, is utterly haram. You're not supposed to be a scholar. Go and drive a bus somewhere, man. That's not scholarship. Huh? If you are scholars, you're supposed to be able to have capacity to think. The farmer is in the field, he doesn't have the time. You can't expect the farmer in the field to be a scholar. He is busy with his work in the field. The businessman is busy with his business. Where are the thinkers? Where are the scholars? Every society needs scholars. Otherwise, you don't have a pilot for the ship. The ship is going to shipwreck. And that's the state, pathetic state of the Arab ulama today. That they're beating the ground, crying over the death of Gaddafi and the destruction of the Libyan government, not recognizing that this is the Zionist religion. And then the new government in Libya is a Zionist government controlled by the Zionists. So, when the attack on Iran takes place, within probably another 2 months or so, 3 months, a chain of events will follow. The world will be completely different from what it is now. Completely different. And Israel eventually takes over from the United States as the next world. At that time, when Israel rules the world, Israel have to control money. Because Britain control money. United States control money. So what's the true money going to be? Answer, electronic money. The banking system controls money. No government can issue money anymore. Because there's no printing press for money. It's all electronic. So the banking system controls all the money in the world, not governments. And Israel controls the banking system. The Jews control the banking system. But if you can control the world for a day, which is like a week, I don't know how long that's going to be. I can take a guess, maybe 20, 25 years, but I can be wrong. At the end of that will come a man, thought-provoking man, who will stand up in Israel and declare Messiah. You and I will recognize that this is the judge. This is the judge. The Jews and the Christians who are Zionists will not recognize this is the Messiah. Okay? So they'll be deceived. Or what about the fellows playing football out there? You join. They say, no, he's not the judge. He will say he is the judge. And they will say, no, he's not the judge. Why? Because the prophet said that the judge will ride on a donkey. And the donkey will travel as fast as the cloud to be a flying donkey. And the donkey will travel, the donkey will have wings stretched out wide. And the donkey will be as fast as the clouds. Okay? So those who are playing football are going to be waiting for a flying donkey. And unless until they see the flying donkey, they will say, he is not the judge. We use a different methodology. We recognize this as religious symbolism. And we recognize the flying donkey to be the aircraft. Okay? The prophet said that the judge will step into the ocean and the water will reach up to his knee. So the fellows playing football are going to ask the fellow to step in the ocean. And let's see how far the water is going to reach you. Okay? In order for the water to reach him up to his knee, this man has to be 1 mile tall. Huh? No human being is 1 mile tall. We say, no, this is religious symbolism. This symbolizes the technology with which he is able to go down to the bottom of the ocean and pick up things as though the water is reaching him to his knee. The first thing for Paul will say, the prophet said that the child will be jumping between the heavens and the earth. So they say, come on, let's see you jump. And we say, no, this is religious symbolism. Jumping between the heavens and the earth symbolizes the technology of travel in space. The shuttle, for example, going up and down. But now let's take the one that takes the case. Because we're there. The prophet said that the child sees with his left eye. He is blind with the right eye. It looks like a bulging grip. But your Lord is not one eye. Between his eyes on his forehead is written the word kafir. And every Muslim will be able to read kafir. Whether that Muslim is katib or ghayr katib, whether he is literate or illiterate, he still be able to read. So the first thing football I want to say is he sees with 2 eyes. He is not one eye. He cannot possibly be the judge. And we say, but he is the judge. Because the one eye is simple. Prophet said that he is blind the right eye. The blind right eye symbolizes internal blindness. And the reason why the mu'min can read, but the kafir cannot read, on his forehead, is because the mu'min is not reading with his eyes, reading with the internal eye. And the reason why the kafir cannot read, not because something wrong with his eyes, you don't have to send him to the eye specialist to tell them. No, nothing wrong with his eye. The reason why he cannot read is because he's internally blind. So there is a tremendous test of methodology here. Ours and theirs. I call that the flying donkey methodology. The flying donkey. Because they insist on a literal interpretation of every hadith. Okay? Today, they are usually the Salaf. And I have students of mine who are Salaf. And I have students of mine who are Sufi. And they're both my students. Because I'm able to embrace them all in one Jama'ah. So that methodology cannot tackle the subject of Dajjal. Not at all. When Dajjal declares that he is the Messiah, at that time, Allah will cause Imam al-Mahdi to emerge. At that time, he will attack the Imam. At that time, Nabi Isa will return. At that time, Nabi Isa will kill Dajjal. And when he is killed, he passes into non-existence. Yeah. Because he does not have to be raised for judgment, to be judged by Allah, and to be rewarded or punished. No. Because he was created for this mission. And when that mission is completed, he passes into non-existence. So he is not a human being. But he will appear in the form of a human being. Because they can't understand that. They cannot understand, they will not accept that. After the Dajjal has been destroyed, killed, at that time the Muslim army will then liberate the Holy Land. And the truth will triumph. And history will end with the triumph of truth over falsehood and justice over oppression and tyranny. This has been a brief introduction to Dajjal. If I were to give you the complete subject, we'll be here for the whole night. The whole night. Okay? I have left out critically important parts of the subject. The part pertaining to riba. Dajjal is the master of the modern economy. The banking system has come from Dajjal. Dajjal is the author of the monetary system, the paper money. Dajjal is the author or the architect of the electronic money system. Dajjal is the architect of the modern state, which claims sovereignty, where previously Allah was recognized as sovereign. The farmer in the land, in the field, plowing his field, he knows A to Z, nothing about this. The businessman selling in the market, he knows nothing about this. You can't expect him to do the political analysis. The scholars have failed. And they have failed. The modern state which has emerged out of Europe is built on the foundation of Egypt. And all these so-called Islamic parties, the one in Tunisia just won the election, and the one in Egypt is going to win the election next month. the one in Kazakhstan, the one in Pakistan, and so on. Islamic parties, political parties, functioning within the embrace of the secular state, having no sense. Having no sense. Maulana Maududi Rahimahullah, may Allah bless him, he was a great man, but he started a monstrous monumental mistake to take the Islamic movement and transform it into a political party and fight elections, form alliances with all kinds of dajjals. The modern feminist revolution has come from the Dajjal. Oh yes, all of these things are from the Dajjal. So I've left out all of that in the next just to give you this